Well, today's project is going to be working on this radio here for my '69 Corvette. And I don't know if it works. I bought it off of eBay and it was just listed as, unknown condition. And so I figured that'll work for me. I can probably get it working if it doesn't work. So it's, I didn't even know this, but so this is a stereo radio. And so the amplifier, this is a mono amplifier, which was in my car originally. So my car originally had a mono radio. I didn't even know that they had stereo radios in these cars. So I got this. I was looking at the plug. I was like, well, that's not going to plug in. What the heck is this? So that's when I found out that it's actually stereo. So with this mono amplifier here, we've got blue, yellow, green for the wiring, but this plug has blue, yellow, green and blue, yellow, green. So obviously it would have a heat sink with two of these transistor amplifiers. So I bought one of those, another one of those off eBay. So I'm waiting for that to show up. And then I bought new transistors to at least eliminate that as a potential problem. So, and then back here we've got just the speaker wires. So we've got like a left and a right, and then the two grounds come together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test this radio out before I even put it in the car. But before I do that, I'm gonna replace all the capacitors in it, or at least the electrolytic capacitors. So they're gonna be a little hard to get to. And let's flip this thing over to the other side. Okay. So on this side, you can see down into the radio here. And we've got two electrolytic capacitors here. Okay, so they're gonna be tough to get to. I'm gonna have to take probably the side panel of this thing off. And then we've got another one right here. You can see they kind of look like a battery. And we've got another one down here. And I think there was a few somewhere else. I don't know where they went. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace those capacitors. These orange drop caps here, they very rarely ever go bad, so you don't really have to worry about those. And then the ceramic disc type capacitors, which you can see here, which are these green ones down here, like those, and then these tan colored ones. They very rarely ever go bad, so I'm not going to bother with replacing any of those. But these electrolytic style capacitors, they're for sure completely shot by now. And even if they are partially working, it'll probably be noisy, and there'll probably be a lot of static as a result of having bad capacitors. So by changing those out, it should sound hopefully as good as it did when it was new. So there's another one there that I'm gonna have to replace. But I think by doing that, it should sound pretty good, assuming everything else is okay. So that's what I'm gonna do now, try and figure out how to get this thing apart so I can get to those capacitors. And I probably already have enough of them. I built a lot of guitar amps, and so I've got quite a selection of capacitors. So I should be able to just swap them out tonight and test this thing out tomorrow in the morning. So, okay, let's see if I can figure out how to get this thing apart now. Okay, so I took the screws out for this back panel here. But to get it off of here, there's a screw here that's got some solder on it. So I'm gonna heat that up, take that solder off there and get that screw out so I can get this back panel off of here. Once I get that off, I should be able to hopefully get to most of those caps in there. Or so I'm hoping anyway. Let's see how this goes. So I'm just waiting on Yeah, helps if I turn the damn soldering gun on. Okay, I got this screw heated up here and got the solder off of it, so I was able to get this back panel kind of pulled away from the circuit board here. But I wasn't able to really get in there and get at all the capacitors I needed to, so I had to heat up a couple of these other ones and take those screws out so I could move this side panel off of here. Because what I needed to get at, you know, was this circuit board here on the side. But to get that one loose, you got to take the jam nut off of that control there, because that control knob is actually soldered to this circuit board. So I've got it pulled to the side here, so I was able to get those capacitors out of there. And here's the 4 that I've taken out already. And I actually took them out the other day. This is actually the second day now on videoing this, doing this project here. So I've actually already ordered the new capacitors, and I got these from Mauser. So, and these are radial caps. So the caps that came out of this radio, they are axial caps. And axial just means that the leads come out of each end, where a radial, they both come out of the bottom. So this is what you'd find on most circuit boards. And these will work just fine. I'll just have to spread the leads apart a little bit so that it can fit in there like the way these are. So, but it's no big deal, it doesn't matter, because they just hang in there anyway. Since I took all these caps out, I didn't want to lose track of where they go. So what I did was I just put a blue jumper wire on in between the leads for where these caps go. So same thing here, I got a blue jumper wire here, and I just kind of temporarily soldered it in. And what I did was I used a black marker and I painted one side of the wire. That represents my negative side. So whenever I put the cap back in, you know, I know that, okay, my negative side goes here and my positive side goes there. So that way I wouldn't lose track of where the leads go. So that's all the wire is about. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these caps in now. And I also got my new amplifier piece here from eBay. And I've also got these from eBay. This is the new transistors. So I'll put those in there. And we'll try this thing out. Hopefully it'll work. This capacitor here in the corner of this little side piece here, this is going to be the first one that I replace. I'm going to start with it. So I've got the new one here. You can see how much smaller the newer ones are than the old ones. So that's 1000 UF 16 volts. So negative gets grounded here, and it looks like the other terminal goes right up there at that first little, on that terminal strip there, right on the front. So go ahead and get that one put in. So that went in easy enough. And so you can see the radial caps, they work just fine. A little bit of a stretch there on that one, but not a problem. So okay, now we'll start working on the ones here on the circuit board. 6 more to go. Okay, so now that's it for the 1000 UF capacitors. We got the one down here in the corner, and then we got these two here, the ones that stand up. And then this here is the 500 UF capacitor there. So you can see the eyelet here, and it goes over to this one there. So that's that one there. And then I'm getting ready to put the last of the 500 UF capacitors in. And it'll go from that hole right there back to right there. And let's see, we'll be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There'll only be 2 more to do after that. So that's 5 of the 7. So now we just got 2 more to do that go on this board here. 1 under here and 1 down here. So get those put in. Okay, these ones were a little bit more difficult to get in. But so we got this one here. And I got the other one down here in the bottom. So now it's just, well, we got Chrissy here on the table. You're always in the way, aren't you? Huh, yeah. So I gotta try and put this mess all back together. So this will be fun. All right, got it all back together here, and that was actually painless. It really went together pretty quick. That was less than 5 minutes to put it back together. So put the covers on it now, and actually I still gotta solder these two spots here on the screws. Then I'll start working on the amp here and see if we can get this thing working. Okay, I got this thing all back together here. So gonna go just kind of set it in the car, plug everything in, and hope that it doesn't blow up or catch on fire. Well, there it is, installed, and I'm not gonna lie, that was a little more difficult than I expected it to be. I tried to put this whole center gauge cluster with the radio all in together, but it was a lot easier to remove this dash pad and this shifter console. Made it a lot easier to just kind of drop everything right in. I didn't test it before putting it in, which was my original plan. I was going to plug it all in, make sure it worked. But instead, I just ran with it. I had enough faith in it. I thought, you know what, let's just throw it in there and hope for the best. And it paid off because it's actually working. So let's check it out.
At the time, and they cut a deal that they were going to open up a liberal arts college.
I don't know what channel that is, but anyway. Alrighty, well, anyway, that's about it for that. At least those capacitors probably brought this thing back to life. It may have worked beforehand, but I'd be willing to bet it was probably a lot more staticky and maybe not even worked at all. So just changing those capacitors was well worth the $5 probably that I spent on those capacitors. So if you liked the video or if it helped you out, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.